views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
So sexy it hurts, and I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Hey, welcome everybody to Doing It with Styles. I appreciate you coming back every week and checking out what we got going on here at Doing It with Styles on WWDB.TV. Speaking of Doing It with Styles, today one of my guests is Leah Gezelle, who is a hair stylist.
Yes.
And you do hair for people in Hollywood, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Any cool people that you can talk about, or?
Yeah, I
got any dirt on anybody?
Well, I don't have any dirt.
Oh, good, okay.
But yes, I do hair for film and television in LA. I've worked with quite a few people, but just a few to name. I've worked with Tatiana Ali. She's familiar with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
I've worked, one of my other clients is Paula J. Parker. She was on Friday.
Okay.
The movie Friday.
Right.
She was on Hustle and Flow. She also does voiceovers for the Proud Family.
Oh, cool.
Stacey Dash. We know the famous Stacey Dash.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite a few.
Cool. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite part of doing the hair for these people?
My favorite part of doing hair is just being creative and just putting me into the style.
Do they give you the freedom to do that? I mean, or do they? Is there a director that comes up and says, "Okay, this is what this has got to look like"? Or
yeah, absolutely. When you're doing you do have a visionary with the situation, if you're doing like a video shoot or something like that. But I definitely put my creativity into it, but a lot of times with the directors, producers, there is a direction that you're going in.
So if you're doing like a red carpet or a special event or something like that, you've got a little more freedom to to add some style to it.
Absolutely.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And sitting next to you, what's your name again? Curtis Henderson, right?
Yeah, Curtis Henderson.
Curtis, Curtis,
the
pro
trainer. Yes.
Okay. You train the pros, or you train people to be pros?
I train people to be pros. I train people to be great athletes, actually.
Cool. And you're working with Leah.
Yes.
And so you in the respect with when you're working with Leah, it's more of a personal trainer as opposed to if you're training a boxer or a runner or somebody like that. It's just, hey, I just want to get in shape. Curtis, can you help me out?
Yes. Actually, it's actually it's different, but it's great to actually be a part of a big situation like this, to actually work with transgender, and it's just amazing.
So, and I'm glad that you opened up that window there, or that door, because the real surprise here is that Leah is a transgender woman.
Yes,
is that correct?
Absolutely.
And how long ago did you transition? Did you go through the transition?
I guess you can say I've transitioned like 8 years now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been about 8 years.
What has been the hardest part for you once the transition was complete, or you felt like, okay, I am now a woman? What was the hardest part for you?
The hardest part? There's different levels, but
of course.
Just actually obtaining the respect of others and actually taking me serious with the situation. That can sometimes be difficult when you have people in your past life who know you as who you were before versus who you're presenting to as yourself now. So that was kind of difficult when you have to retrain them, kind of tune them up on, bring them up to speed on you and just respecting you for being you.
Did you find that most of the people that you knew, or your friends or family, were supportive for the most part?
Absolutely. Generally, before doing this, I had all the thoughts of not being supported, not being accepted. But once I took the leap and just did what was comfortable for me, everybody just kind of like fell in line. And
Yeah.
it was actually not what I expected.
Okay.
Which was,
You mean you didn't expect to be as accepted as you were?
Absolutely.
Okay. But that's kind of cool. That shows that the friends and family that you have are good friends and good family.
Absolutely.
Because they care about you and not what you look like or you follow me? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so as a transgender or someone who is training a transgender person, do you find that there are differences or similarities in how you would train? In other words, if you were going to train me to do something and you were going to train Leah to do the same thing, is there different things that you have to be aware of?
Yeah, they take different hormones, so you have to treat them as they're a woman.
Okay.
You can't treat them as a man, because they're going through they have the same
Right.
things that are going on as a woman. So you have to treat that with care, and then they're on different type of like hormones and
Right.
things like
the
that.
chemical things that are going
Yes,
on
with their
in
balance.
your body is I mean, it's hard enough without throwing all that stuff in your system too, correct? So what did you find was the easiest part of making the transition?
The easiest part,
Or the part that you liked the most or were the most proud of, maybe, if you want to go that way?
the most proud, it's just basically doing what makes me happy. That was pretty easy for me. Just taking the initiative to just do what makes me happy, whether it, obviously glam.
Right.
I'm a part of the hair and beauty and hair
Right.
industry, so hair, makeup, that was kind of simple for me, but just stepping out initially, just making myself happy, that was easy for me because that's what I've always wanted to do,
The transgender people that I've met or have talked with, and not that there's a whole bunch of them, I'm still kind of ignorant in a lot of areas, is that there is a lot of trauma, individual personal trauma in your younger years, and the I mean, it can't be an easy decision to make, or it's got to be something that you spend a lot of time thinking about, or deciding
Absolutely.
whether or not to do it, or
Absolutely. And I wouldn't say all transgenders have trauma in their childhood, because me personally, I had a very good childhood. Being raised by my father, we were really, really close. But I lost him before I actually transitioned. So
before you started or before you completed, or
before I started
Okay.
transitioning, I did lose him. So he never really got to be introduced to the beautiful Leah Gezelle now.
Right.
However, my childhood was not a trauma-filled childhood. Very happy home, Although it was a single-parent home,
Gotcha.
I still had a good childhood.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and I was always supported, hands down, with anything I chose to do. I just hate that I didn't transition.
Yeah.
He didn't meet me as me now,
What in your interaction or your in relationship with people, do you find that the average person, when they find out that you're transgender, is it positive, negative, or?
It really just depends.
And I mean, you don't go around telling everybody, "Hey, I'm
No,
transgender."
I don't have it tattooed on my face.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it just depends. What I do find a lot of times with guys tend to sexualize transgenders, women. It's like a fantasy.
Right.
You know what I mean? When we're actually more than that. I am beauty and brains and sexy. You
Well,
know?
you're a human being.
Absolutely.
You're not just an object.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions, and I had interviewed another transgender woman who is just starting the transition, and I asked her this question, and I hope I don't offend you by asking you. Before you transitioned, did you transition? I don't even know how to ask this properly. Were you attracted to men before you transitioned?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it wasn't, you didn't transition because you were attracted to men, you were just...
I transitioned simply because I've always felt like the woman that you see
Okay,
today.
gotcha.
I've always envisioned this lady, and as we talked earlier today, and I was telling him, a lot of people put, you know, in my opinion, I don't believe that transgender is necessarily associated with the LGB community. I guess you want to say the LGBT Q plus community,
Right.
because transgender is not something that is associated with your
Sexual preference.
sexual preference.
Right.
That's totally different. However, people like
And that's
to
exactly
merge
what Julia
them
told me
together.
as well.
So it's totally different.
That there are
Just
two
because
different
I'm-
issues.
Absolutely. Just because I'm transgender does not mean I necessarily want to be with a man.
Right.
Or I could be transgender and like a woman.
Sure.
However, I do adore men.
Right.
You know, but there are two different things, and I think that needs to be.
Well, it's just
acknowledged.
like, okay, so I love women, but there are, if you put 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 women up in front of me, there's going to be 1 or 2 that I'm attracted to, or a type, or whatever.
Exactly.
And it's not something that is conscious. It's like, I'm not saying, okay, well, I like blonde, she's blonde, I like her, you know, or a redhead or a brunette, or she's tall, she's short, she's skinny, she's fat, whatever. It's just that
She's fat.
there's something inherent in you that says, hey, this is what I'm attracted to. And there's nothing, I can't make myself be attracted to this, and I can't make myself not be attracted to that. Does that make any sense at all?
It makes sense what you're saying.
Okay, good. Good. So, you know, for an old white guy, what the hell, you know.
So funny.
But I think that's a lot of what's going on is the confusion. It's when I
Ding, was that your phone or was that this?
no, that was my phone. So and hang on, okay, I'm sorry. So anyway, sorry folks. It's ignorance on most people's part is, I think, what causes the problem. It's like, okay, so I know that you're a transgender woman. But I'm always afraid that I'm going to use the wrong pronoun if you know what I mean. It's like when Julia was here, I said something like she made a comment, and I said, "Well, no shit, dude." You know, and it was just because.
Well, I mean, basically, you have to know who and when to have, you know, that type of humor joke. Some people don't take it serious. Some other people take it lightly.
Well, and
however, that's just a general statement
Right.
that you do with everybody.
But I mean, and I guess that's where I was going with that, was that, you know, if someone is
being disrespectful.
disrespectful, or if they're being, they just don't know. They're ignorant, and I don't mean ignorant in the sense that they're stupid. I mean they don't know. And so, I mean, I think all of us can tell pretty much, you know. And it's like Curtis and I joke around, and he knows if I'm serious. He knows if I'm joking. And it's just, you know, some
A
people
sense
are
of
just
humor.
dicks. That's all. And so, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Curtis, what got you into doing the training for transgenders?
Well, I just seen it. I seen a lot of like trainers actually that they stick with a lot of their like men basically, and I think a lot of trainers are not open-minded to it, and I think that they think that their brand is gonna go from here to to the bottom.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, I says, you know, and I said to myself, I says, you know what? I says, I've been thinking about this for like a whole year, and I've been talking to different people about it, and I says, you know what? I'm gonna go hit the market. And I just think that in the transgender world, they need someone that actually is real about what they do, and they're gonna stand their ground. And I'm here to stand my ground, and I'm here to work with these transgenders and get them to a point in their career, and they're looking good, looking fine, looking great, and feeling good about themselves, and actually have somebody that's a trainer that has an open mind about it.
Have you gotten any flack or feedback from other trainers because of what you're doing, or?
No, I haven't. I had talked to someone recently, and they were like, "Go ahead, you're doing the right thing."
Yeah.
Like, what's it for you to be hiding something for your brand?
Yeah.
And I think this is wonderful for my brand, and I'm excited, and I'm blessed, and I'm gonna be humbled with it, and you know, I'm just gonna keep on doing what I need to do, and working with her, and I think we found something, and I think we're gonna go do something big with it, John. And I think we all found something together. You know.
So, Leah, how did you come across Curtis? How did you find him? Where
Well,
did
we were
you?
introduced through a mutual friend.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to piggyback right on what you're saying.
Go ahead,
The
please.
dynamic that we have is pretty cool. Like, it's something different, and we're going to merge ourselves together and create a big impact on society, and just making sure that, you know, letting others know that, you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're human too, you know. And just to kind of correct you on it, or not, but you
He
know, how
needs
you was
correcting
saying-
a lot, man. I'm
just
telling
saying,
you.
when he's like, I'm just working with the transgenders. I don't necessarily like to isolate us into our own lane. However,
I understand.
we're just a part of the population as well.
Right.
You know, it really
Population,
doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's no different, in my opinion. It's no different than, okay, I'm only going to work with women, or I'm only going to work with men, or I'm only going to work with transgenders, or I'm only going to work with gays, or I'm only going to work with lesbians, or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
People are
you have,
people at the
you
end of
have,
the day.
you know, you have picked a niche that you think is going to be profitable. I mean, that's why you're in business, is to, you know, feed yourself and take care of yourself.
Yeah,
so.
and I see it. I see it profitable, but I also too in my heart that I know that there's people out there that won't go at that market because they think that their brand is gonna go
Right.
zero. So at what I thought about for me is saying to myself, it says, you know what, I'm gonna tap into the market, and you know, I'm gonna go for it. You know, I prayed about it, and you know, at the end of the day, they're normal people. They're normal people. They walk around. They do everything that a normal person does every day. But it's just that I think sometimes they get stereotyped
Stereotypes about
Yeah.
certain
about
things.
Well,
certain
dude,
things.
we all do.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
I'm an
So
old white guy, you're a black guy, you
Right.
know, you're a black woman, you know, we all get stereotyped, and that's, I think that's part of what we need to stop.
right. Exactly.
You know,
And
it's like you and I respect each other as human beings.
Yes.
And it's not something that enters into our interaction, I guess, if
Right.
you want to say that. So.
And just to add to what you're saying, at the end of the day, it does not really matter if you're trans, if you're gay, if you're lesbian, if you're bisexual, whatever your sexual preference is, that's on you. Whether you're trans, which I told you that's a different different entity. Whether you're trans, when does that ever play a factor in anything?
Yeah.
Never. That does not mean that I can't do the same job as you and you
Right.
can't do the same job as me. Just because I'm trans means nothing.
Yeah.
With him being my trainer, it may mean just simply because it's a health thing and we're aligned with that. But
Right.
in any everyday in and out situation, it does not matter. You know, so I just like to
Well,
create that awareness.
unfortunately, to some people, it does matter.
But
And what would you say to those people?
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Right.
So, I mean, what
Because our burial plots are the same size.
that part.
I
Absolutely.
mean, unless you're really tall, then you might have a little bigger one. But,
Yeah, so, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you're dating me, then that's when we could have that discussion.
and
Or-
thank you for bringing that up. But because I was going to say that if you meet someone and you think, oh, wow, I really want to date that person, and they think, oh, wow, I really want to date that person, at what point do you let them know that you're trans? Or
Me personally,
yeah, I know this. You can't speak
don't-
for everybody in the world.
yeah, but me personally, I've had people approach, don't know, and that's fine until we're ready to take it to the next step.
Right.
Or when I feel comfortable, just for my safety and for theirs too.
Yeah, no.
I
I
want
get that.
to,
Yeah.
lay things out on the table so that we can, be on the same page. But
Right.
it's really not important until we're ready to go to that next level. I don't necessarily, I don't need to have a discussion with someone that I'm getting to know.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
About my past.
You don't go out to dinner and sit down and go, oh, by the way, I'm trans.
Right.
Because that until they get to know you, that's when it becomes important in my mind.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then you have others trans who are just not in a certain space where they're you already know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some guys already know with me. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we all just need to. We're gonna have to coexist. We just learn a way for us to coexist and not be so judgmental about situations.
A lot of people are afraid.
Afraid of.
Anything that's different.
That's true.
Whether it's color, sexual presentation, or sexual preference, or whatever. I mean, look at all the hate that's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
Just because you're black, I'm white, this guy's yellow, this guy's red, this guy's blue. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
very much.
so do you find, Curtis, that training a trans person is easier or harder? From their perspective, I mean,
Okay.
they're
when
they're
it-
relating to you.
It is.
It's different.
It's very, very different. It's not easy. You have to do your research. You have to do your
Wait, you have to do your research. Where the hell can you go and research?
No,
No, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, it's like,
that's why we teaming up and
gotcha. Okay, so
collaborating and
basically,
educating one another on
Okay,
things
all right.
as well as there's research out there.
Yeah,
there's
I'm sure
material
there is.
out there,
I mean-
but there's no, self-experience is a good teaching. So
Right.
that's more. It's better to be in the middle of the pit than to just read about
well,
it.
and
you know what I mean?
Right.
it's like you're lucky in the sense that you have someone you can go to and say, hey, what should I do, or how does this
Right.
affect you, or what works, what doesn't work.
And that's another thing too. Like we were talking today over lunch, and I was just asking her different questions and different things on different scenarios and stuff. And I actually, we actually got somewhere with it, and really opened up my eyes to see the things that they actually have to go through and the things they have to do to be who they are today.
Right.
And it's not the same. It's like you can't give them regular things, or like people take stuff at GNC. You can't.
Oh yeah, supplements and things like that.
Yeah. So those types of things, you have to really do your research and really ask them, actually, because they're basically the ones that can actually tell you then
how they feel,
how I
Right.
feel and everything
how I
else.
feel,
Yeah.
how it affects you.
how
and
is it
yeah.
affecting me.
So another question, getting back to the actual transition itself. Once you have made the transition, are there still drugs that you have to, medications that you have to continue taking for your entire life? Or is it like, okay, from you start here and you finish here and you're going to take this drug until you get to here?
No, you definitely have to do hormone therapy.
Okay.
Throughout your lifespan. And transition is not just medically, it's mentally, it's everything.
Well, I would imagine
You
that,
know,
yeah,
you
that's,
know, so, you know, when people say transition, it's everything. I have to, you know, transition every
well,
entity of my life.
you are in a sense creating an entirely different human being.
Absolutely.
And so mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that has to be affected. Are there, which brings up another question for me is, are there therapists that deal specifically with transgender issues or transgender people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You definitely, well, I know in the state of California, certain situations to even be prescribed, you know, hormones, you have to go through a session with a psychologist.
Okay.
And you sit down and talk to someone, and they just, you know, they can, you know, you can tell when someone is ready and when someone is just playing.
So it's not just, you don't walk into the doctor's office and say, hey, I want to be a woman now.
No, it's
So
a
I mean, there's
process.
a whole system that you have to go through. Is it are you aware of any cases where maybe a doctor or a therapist might say, no, sorry, this isn't going to work for you.
No,
You shouldn't
I'm not
be doing
aware
this.
of any cases like that, but I mean, like I said, hormone therapy is a serious situation, and not just affects.
Yeah, but that's a physical.
It affects you mentally as well. So it's not just a physical effect.
Okay,
It affects you mentally as well.
Gotcha.
So anybody who's going through that, you're risking a lot. Just doing something if it's not true to heart. You know what I mean?
right.
So.
Do you know of anyone, and I'm asking these questions because I'm ignorant in a lot of issues, so I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but are you aware or do you know of anyone that has maybe started going through the transition and then said, nah, never mind, it's not worth it, or
I've heard
I
of
really don't want to
situations
do
like
this?
that, who have done that, but what has been so far along in their hormone therapy, it's like, why would you go? You
Right.
can't go
In
back.
other words, it's too late now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's too late.
you reached a point in your transition where you got to keep going, or
it is what it is.
Right.
Like, yeah. And we all know if you get bottom surgery, and when I say bottom surgery, it means you get your
sexual organs.
sexual organ
Right.
actually changed. How can you go back?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean,
No, but I mean, up to that point, you still have. Is there a crossover point where the doctor says, "Okay, once we do this, it's too late. You can't go back. Now's your last chance to change your mind," or is that?
well, you really go through processes of counseling sessions and things
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
I didn't think
so
it was one
basically-
day they come in and says, "Okay, this is
Right.
it.
So
After
you're
tomorrow,
not-
yeah."
So it's not when you're ready to do that, or when you are picking and choosing doctors, you have more than enough time to know
Okay.
what you're doing.
All right.
It's anyone who does that knows you know what you're doing.
Gotcha.
You know.
Well, we're kind of getting close to the end of our time. Is there something that you would like to say or talk about before we wrap this up? Is there any message that you would have for people out there that are going through this or thinking about going through this, or?
And not transitioning you definitely have to take your time. It's not something that happens overnight. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so you can't just hop into things. Let things take its course. Let the hormones take its course over, you know, changing your body, changing your mind. It's going to take some time, but in time, to those out there that are transitioning, you will be the woman, you will be the man that you envision yourself to be. So just take your time.
So patience.
Patience. Patience.
Curtis, how about you? I know that you've got this up and coming business and you're trying to build it. And is there any message that you would like to give people out there to?
Yeah, I just have an open mind. Have an open mind about life and what you're doing, and have fun with it, and you know, treat people equally, and you'll do great, and pray and be humbled at the same time, and everything's a process. So
Okay.
Process.
How can people get a hold of you?
actually, you guys can get a hold of me. My Instagram, Curtis the Pro Trainer. My Facebook, Curtis Henderson. My email, protrainer.henderson@gmail.com. And you know, look out for me, and I'm here to help anybody that needs the help. If it's in the transgender world, if any world, I'm here. So,
Do you,
yeah, thank you.
are you still training people who are not transgender?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm definitely am.
I'm glad. Yeah, I
yes,
almost
I'm
forgot to ask you that. I meant to
Yeah,
ask you that earlier.
yeah, I'm definitely am
Okay.
with the boxers and stuff.
Gotcha.
So,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
so I'm grateful for that, you know, and we have something coming up the end of December, so I'm looking forward to having a great camp with my guy.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, my guy Ladarius Miller.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to a great camp, smooth camp, and you know, wonderful things for this kid. He's a great kid, humbled, and we're just ready to perform on a great show the end of December. So.
Cool. So, Leah, if I was an upcoming star and I wanted you to start doing my hair, where could people get a hold of you? Where could they find
Well,
you?
you can find me on Instagram. My business profile is Stylist Leah G.
Okay.
My personal.
And you don't have to give out your personal if you don't want to, unless
I
you're
can,
looking
because,
for a date or
that's-
something. And
It's not really about a date,
Yeah,
but
no, I know.
we're transitioning things into my fitness. So for my fitness and beauty and fitness page, as far as just me, is Gezelle the Fox. It's
Gezelle the Fox.
Yes.
All right, I like it. Yeah.
GEZELLE the Fox.
Cool.
So,
Okay. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming in and
Thank you
sharing
for
your story.
having me.
Appreciate it. Curtis, nice seeing you again, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Sit down, man. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks again, and we do appreciate all your support here at Doing It with Styles, and especially at WWDBTV.com. Check out all the other great shows that we've got, and watch for some great things coming up here in the near future from us. And like I always say, if you're going to do it with styles. Thank you.
Nice work, John.